When today is unpredictable, you need sound advice and strong support to help you stay focused on your long-term financial goals for tomorrow. Together with an advisor from Rise Private Wealth Management, formerly Pell Wealth Partners, a private wealth advisor practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, you can plan your future while navigating your now. Ameriprise Financial has been guiding clients through challenging times for 130 years. You can take comfort in working with a financial advisor who's backed by that strong experience and who's there to guide you with personalized, goal-based financial advice. Call Rise Private Wealth Management today at 914-253-8800. That's 914-253-8800. Office is located at 800 Westchester Avenue, Suite 300 in Rybrook, New York, and 300 East 40th Street in New York City. Not FDIC or NCUA insured. No financial institution guarantee. May lose value. Securities offered by Ameriprise Financial Services, LLC. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Welcome to Leadership Unleashed, the show that will explore the multifaceted world of leadership through insightful interviews, thought-provoking discussions, and practical advice from experts throughout Westchester County and beyond. I'm your host, Amanda DePalma, Senior Vice President of Events and Development at the Business Council of Westchester. On today's episode of Leadership Unleashed, we're exploring leadership in higher education and what it takes to guide an institution through rapid change, growth, and innovation while staying grounded in mission and values. We're honored to be joined by a nationally recognized higher education leader who has been driving that work firsthand, Dr. Seamus Carey, president of Iona University. Since becoming Iona's 9th president, Dr. Carey has led a period of transformational growth, from increasing enrollment and expanding academic programs to elevating Iona's national profile and strengthening partnerships locally, nationally, and globally. In this episode, President Carey will share his perspective on the state of higher education, Iona's approach to innovation, including artificial intelligence and workforce preparation, and how the university is creating meaningful opportunities for students through community partnerships, experiential learning, and global engagement. We'd like to thank Westchester Medical Center for their support as the premier sponsor of the Leadership Unleashed podcast.
A lot goes into planning a birthday. For my daughter Cameron, it started with a stem cell transplant to cure her sickle cell disease. Yes, cure. Westchester Medical Center Health Network uses every technology, technique, and talented specialist to conquer diseases that could otherwise rob a child of childhood, helping my daughter and thousands of others at Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital. Happy birthday, Cameron.
Happy birthday. WMC Health, advancing care here.
President Carey, welcome to Leadership Unleashed. We're thrilled to have you with us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Iona has had such a long legacy here in New York. Can you please start a little bit by giving us an overview on the Iona mission and some of its top priorities today?
Sure. We've been around since 1940. The Irish Christian Brothers came to New Rochelle and founded a school that was focused on educating first-generation students. At the time, it was primarily the offspring of Irish and Italian immigrants. Many of those folks got a good education and went on to do great things in their careers. And that mission holds today in a lot of ways. We still educate a lot of first-generation students. And the curriculum they set up at the time reflected what they were trying to accomplish, which is to say that they were very focused on making sure the graduates were prepared for professional success, but also, and probably more importantly, that the curriculum prepared students to live purposeful and meaningful lives, and that they got a really broad-based education.
Now, as an industry, higher education is just so vital to us here in New York State. What insights can you offer about the state of higher education, both locally and nationally?
Higher education is a challenged industry at the moment. There's a lot of pressures facing higher education. I mean, one of the great strengths of higher education in the United States is that it's a diverse industry. There are a lot of different types of schools, from R1 state schools to small private schools and faith-based schools like we are. But all of those schools are facing some headwinds. For example, the demographics are against enrollment in higher ed, so there's less high school students available to go to college. That's particularly pronounced here in the Northeast. There's fewer students that will be going to college. It's expensive. You know, it's an industry in which there's a lot of labor costs, because the way the product is delivered is face-to-face and in person. So you need teachers to be in front of students. And so it's expensive to run the schools and to do it well as then maintaining campuses and the other things that go with an education. So there's a lot of headwinds against higher education. At the same time, a lot of the public discourse about higher education is misleading. That is to say, there's a lot of question today about the value of higher education. All of the data shows that students who graduate from college do better in so many ways across the board, not just in terms of income that they earn over the course of their careers, but they live longer, they live happier, healthier lives. So the education really does make a big difference. And it's interesting, right now, today, applications are actually up across the board.
That's incredible.
For next year. So despite all the rhetoric, people are smart, and when they want what's best for their kids. And so I think we'll continue to hang in there as long as we continue to innovate and provide the type of education that students need today.
Well, I think, and you said that earlier, when you named all the different type of higher education that there really is something there for everybody. You just have to really get all the pieces into place to get yourself there. And then once you're there, really make the most of it to maximize the career. You mentioned before about innovation, obviously artificial intelligence, AI, top of mind when it comes to that idea of innovation. Everyone's really been talking about its impact across industries and certainly at the higher education level. How has Iona approached artificial intelligence?
Artificial intelligence, as you point out, is definitely going to change education. And we've recognized right from the get-go that it's not something that you want to resist. You really want to embrace it and partner with it and figure out how to integrate it into how you teach. So that you're preparing students, again, for what they'll face when they get out of school. But really what we're focused on is how is the learning process enhanced by AI rather than compromised by AI. And so we've invested a lot of time and energy and resources into supporting our faculty, because that's where it has to happen. Our faculty have to be the ones to integrate AI into the pedagogical processes that they offer, and so that the conversations and the learning process is what it needs to be in the classroom. And I have to say, I'm so proud of our faculty at Iona. They are actually industry leaders at the moment, to the point where not only are we integrating this into our classroom, we're hosting conferences on AI for people in the region. And we are also working with several high school districts in the area to help their faculty get up to speed with how to use AI as well.
So you were mentioning that, a lot about the support of AI amongst the faculty and staff, but obviously as a higher education institution, what programs, or do you offer any programs for someone now who's looking to advance their career in AI? Because that's the other side of it.
We do. So you can get certified in AI at Iona if you want to come and do specific courses. You can do courses that are related specifically to different industries that we offer. And we also then have a minor at the undergraduate level for students who want to actually minor in AI. We haven't gone to the major, in part because it's kind of a philosophical decision, because we want AI to be integrated throughout the entire curriculum. It's not really a standalone discipline.
No.
Because 12-year-olds can use AI very effectively. And so they come to campus knowing how to use it. We want to make sure that we're using it most effectively in the different disciplines, as those disciplines can be enhanced by the use of AI.
Well, and then it becomes sort of now once you've left your college career, it's taking that knowledge with you and then applying it on an industry-specific level. And so that allows them, you've already given them now the foundation for that. So I understand, speaking of all of that, Iona is launching a summer internship program around AI that's incredibly innovative. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we recognize that not only is education going to be transformed by AI, but almost every industry is going to be impacted dramatically by AI. And to the point where some industries, which have traditionally been the launching pads for college graduate careers, let's say accounting or finance or even law, probably will be the most impacted by AI, because the work that takes place in those industries are easily done by AI tools. There are other industries that are core to the United States economy where students could work that will evolve with AI, but probably won't be as dramatically impacted in terms of career opportunities. And so we've looked at those and say, okay, what type of industries are going to be around, even if transformed, in the future? Why don't we bring those folks into campus. So, for example, energy. Energy is not going away as an industry. Building,
it's changing every day.
Right, and building and construction, not going away. And hospitality is a growing industry, and it's evolving in very exciting ways, actually. So we looked at those three industries, and we said, why don't we talk to the leaders of some of the best companies in those industries and say, would you like to participate in a conversation with our faculty, not just the AI faculty, but we will have our leading AI folks in conversation with the industry leaders from those industries, as well as our humanities folks. And the idea is that our students will get exposure to the way those industries are evolving as a result of AI, and they might be able to see how they fit into the industry 3-4 years out when they're looking to build their careers. But at the same time, we want to give them the depth of understanding about the history of those industries so that when they make a decision about where they want to work, they're doing it with real purpose and meaning, and it's an opportunity for them to really express who they want to be through their livelihood rather than just AI and industry. So we're going to have these really exciting texts that they'll read at the same time, and we're going to do 4 weeks, and we'll have one industry per week with an introductory week, and it will involve site visits to the workplaces where these industries are actually fulfilling their work.
So real-world application for them.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah.
President Carey, this has been such an insightful conversation so far. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll dive deeper into where Iona is seeing the most growth, from high-demand fields and strategic partnerships to the experiences and opportunities shaping today's students. You are listening to Leadership Unleashed on the BCW Podcast Network. We'll be right back.
This is the coming home you dream about.
But getting here was unimaginable.
At 25 weeks, I was hemorrhaging badly, losing amniotic fluid. Fortunately, I was taken to Westchester Medical Center, where they have the most advanced care in the Hudson Valley for high-risk pregnancies and premature babies. And because we were there, now we're here.
WMC Health, advancing care here.
Welcome back to the BCW Podcast Network. You're listening to Leadership Unleashed, and we're continuing our conversation with Dr. Seamus Carey, president of Iona University. As Iona continues to grow and innovate, we're diving into where that momentum is showing up most, from emerging fields of study to impactful partnerships and the many incredible opportunities available to Iona students. Dr. Carey, what fields are you seeing the most growth in right now?
For us, the obvious answer to that is the health sciences. There's such a demand in the workplace for graduates to enter that field. But students are coming enthusiastically to become nurses and occupational therapists and mental health counselors, and we'll be introducing physical therapy in the next year or so. So that is the biggest growth field for us.
And with that being that's the case, I think I understand you have a partnership with New York Presbyterian. That's an incredible opportunity. How did this come about, and how does that partnership benefit the students directly?
Well, the New York Presbyterian partnership has been transformative for Iona, and it came about back during COVID, actually, when we were able to purchase the Concordia College campus. Obviously, they came on hard times, as so many small schools have and will be more so. And we were able to make a deal to purchase their campus. And at the same time, I knew that health sciences was an area we needed to grow in. And I happened to be talking to Al Kelly, who's an Iona graduate and board member, former CEO of Visa. And I was telling him about my idea about presenting this proposal to the CEO of a hospital system, and I had a meeting set up for the following Wednesday. This was on a Saturday. And so I said, do you have any advice on this proposal? And he says, well, no, but let me call Steve Corwin, who's the CEO of New York Presbyterian. I didn't realize when I was talking to Al that he's on the board at New York Presbyterian as well. And so we left the diner in Mamaroneck, and I got a call back in 15 minutes, and Al said, Steve would like to talk to you. And so I got on a call with Steve Corwin, and we had the outline of a deal made by noon.
Tremendous.
Yeah. And the reason for that is it was fortuitous for us, obviously, but Steve Corwin is a visionary, and he knew where New York Presbyterian was going. And because he had such a clear vision for his institution, when he heard what I was trying to do, he knew it fit into what they wanted to do. If he didn't have the clarity of vision, it would have been a much more difficult deal to make. So anyway, that's turned out to be a godsend for us because they are incredible partners to work with. First of all, it's a first-class system, and our students, in particular our nursing students, all need clinicals as they go through their curriculum, and so we're able to have our students do their clinicals at New York Presbyterian for the most part.
Incredible. So with that, Iona is renowned for its commitment to service and community partnerships, including the Business Council of Westchester and the Westchester Innovation Network program. How does this impact a student's college and professional career?
We find that these service trips are transformative for our students. A lot of students, not just at Iona, but students that go to college sometimes come from fairly sheltered or insulated backgrounds. And when they're put into these circumstances where people live very different lives with very different resources and circumstances, the scales fall from their eyes, and they see that the world isn't just Westchester or just where they came from. And I have to say, one of the things, I've been to a number of institutions over the course of my career, and there is a genuine sense at Iona across the board of our students wanting to do good. They're genuinely good people, and when they get the opportunity to express that and to develop that and to bring that forward in really impactful ways to help other people, they come back and they're different people, and it really catapults them into becoming really great adults.
Just setting them up for success, no matter how you
do it. I mean, and even not just in terms of service, but those types of things open their eyes to what it means to be a mature adult, and that translates into all walks of life, whether it's family life or professional life.
Being a good human across the board. So looking ahead, what are you most excited that's coming down the road for Iona?
Some of it I can't share, but we one of the great things about Iona.
That's okay. We could do a follow-up episode when you're able to.
But one of the things I will say about Iona one of the things I love about working there is the willingness of the community to embrace change and innovation, while at the same time being deeply grounded in who we are. The Christian Brothers have 3 principles of education: compassion, presence, and liberation. And it's fascinating to me, as we talk about AI, the notion of presence is central to what we do. In other words, students being able to pay attention and be present to what they're doing is central, right? So that's a pillar of Christian Brothers education. And the overarching goal of higher education is freedom, liberation, or autonomy, the ability to think and live freely. And you can only do that, in my view, if you have a really good education. And so with that as background, I use that all the time to guide my thinking and how we innovate. And so we take the traditional principles of education and we say, okay, where is AI going? And how do these principles apply? And that's worked really well for us. And so we have some really exciting stuff coming down the pike. In addition to the health sciences and new programs, the way in which we will expand the curriculum, I think, will be really exciting to hear. And I'll just give a tease. I think
Please do.
This is an extension of what I just talked about with industry. Well, those industries and others we'll be looking at rely very deeply on trades. And trades, like everything else, will be enhanced and changed by AI. And so what it means to be a carpenter in 5 years might be different from what it meant 5 years ago. But we're not just going to do a trade school. We're going to say, what is the ability for carpentry to be a form of expression of one's freest and fullest self? I grew up being a carpenter. So that's why I use this example. What's the difference between a craftsman and a poet, for example? And we're going to start there and ground those trades in a deep and thoughtful curriculum. Because what higher ed has never been able to do is to bridge that divide. But it is bridgeable because that work is absolutely a free and full expression of oneself if it's understood and done in the right ways.
Well, that certainly has my interest peaked, so I'm sure it will interest our listeners as well. President Carey, thank you for joining us today on Leadership Unleashed and for sharing how Iona is growing, innovating, and creating meaningful opportunities for its students. It's so exciting to hear how the university is preparing graduates to succeed in a rapidly changing world. Thank you again to Westchester Medical Center for their support of the BCW Podcast Network. We'll see you next time on Leadership Unleashed.
Thanks for having me.
Be sure to check out the BCW Podcast Network's expansive lineup of shows: Leadership Unleashed, What's Trending, Advocacy and Politics Unplugged, The Member Spotlight, and Nonprofit Voices of Impact. The Business Council of Westchester is the county's largest business membership organization focusing on economic development and advocacy. With over 1,100 members, it is our mission to work for the profitability of our members and the prosperity of the Westchester community. To learn more about the Business Council of Westchester, please go to thebcw.org.